Welcome everyone. Today I have the honor to have a guest like Joel Gandara here, an immigrant who started from absolute zero, transformed into a multi-million dollar business creator. Welcome, Joel.
Thank you, Antonis. Good to be here with you.
Amazing. Do you want to tell us more about yourself, who you are, and what you do?
Sure. I've been an entrepreneur since the fourth grade out of necessity because I grew up without getting all the toys that I wanted. And so I figured I have to make some of my own money. And fast forward many, many years, I started an apparel company more than 20 years ago, and I grew it. I bought 14 of my competitors' companies, and just a few months ago, I sold that company. And I also had a warehouse fulfillment business, sold it at the same time. I decided I was done running my business, although I wasn't really running the last 10 years myself. I had management in place who were running it without me, and it was going well, but I didn't want to focus on it anymore. I wanted to focus on the things that matter most to me. So I lead a men's group. That's really important to me. I'm married for 22 years, 4 kids, and those are all the things that really matter. So that's where I'm at today.
Okay, that sounds exciting. To me, it sounds exciting. So, when you said that you started your journey in the fourth grade, right? So how was that like?
Yeah, it started with some trading cards that I would buy for cheap in a package, open it and sell them individually. And the reason it worked is because in my school, in my city where I lived, they didn't have those cards yet. They had them in my grandmother's city. So on Sundays, we'd visit my grandmother and I'd buy them at the store and take them to my
Yeah.
school. It wasn't for months until it was available at my school. In the meantime, I got to make a lot of money and I got to buy some toys, and that was really cool. But then, it evolved. It went from there to high school. I sold chocolates at school, and they would cost me 24 cents a bar, and I sold them for 50 cents. So I made 26 cents on every bar, but I sold a lot of bars. And every single day that I sold them, I'd make $30 profit. This is my last year of high
Okay.
school, and I started doing pretty well. And this is back in the 1990s. $30 was maybe, I don't know, $60 today. So those are the early beginnings of being an entrepreneur for me.
I see. As I like to say, the early struggle is always it might look difficult and painful, but it's always the gift that can actually get you to where to the level that you wanna achieve, let's say. So there is a phrase that goes, "Business is people." Do you relate with that at all in that part of your business?
Absolutely. So I bought 14 competitive businesses. One of those was listed for sale. The other 13 were people that I knew from my industry that I saw at the trade shows in New York and Paris, in Las
Yeah.
Vegas. And I built relationships with them, and they didn't know they wanted to sell their company. But in those conversations, one thing led to another. You build a good relationship, you treat each other very well because we're either competitors or they're vendors of mine or customers of mine. And
Yeah.
I got to buy their businesses. That would not have happened if the relationships weren't there. I would have had to bid just like everyone else if it was a company for sale. And I think I got favorable terms and very good pricing because we built really good relationships. Just the same,
Mm.
I'm in the relationship business, whether it's through my coaching practice or anything that I do. My business, my family, everything is about relationships and building community and letting people know who you are. If you're a good person, hopefully they see that and they get to trust you. And then who knows what happens from there. For me, life, not just business, life is about people.
Mm. That's right. I'm sure you mentioned that you've written a book, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I have this is why honestly, it's why I sold my business. My business was doing fantastic without me, but it was always on my mind. When you have a baby, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter that the baby's 20 years old, you're still, as a parent, going to worry about it. My business was over 20 years old, and I wasn't running the day to day, but I was always thinking about it. I was always worried about it. So I saw
Yeah.
an opportunity to sell it. Why? Because I wanted to focus on what I do the most, or what I love the most. And I wrote a book called 31 Days to Become a Better Man. The book works. You do these 31 challenges for 31 days, one challenge a day, plus a physical component every day as well. And at the
Yeah.
end, what comes out is another man. It's either who you used to be, that passionate, the fire, that sort of thing. But it's not just a book. If it was a book, I wouldn't even talk about it. It's a program.
Yeah.
So for under $200, guys go with me for 31 days, 24 guys at a time, and we go through it together. And what that means is, day one, we read chapter one. It's 3 to 5 minutes a day. That's it. That's all we read. Now we go put it into action. It's the opposite of the books that you find in the store that are very big and you just read and read and read and there's never anything to do. Mine, you read every day for about 3 to 5 minutes, and then you start taking action on what you have to accomplish for the day. In the end, the idea is you become a better husband, father, citizen, more disciplined, a better businessman, and it's specifically for men. And I'm telling you, the results that I've gotten from the guys who talk to me about it is they tell me it changes their lives. So very excited about that.
That's good to know. There's gonna be a link in the description in the video anyway, so for them to check it out. That sounds very interesting. And you mentioned your family. Obviously, family for me, and I guess for you as well, is the most important thing, right?
Oh, absolutely. I don't know
Absolutely.
I would do anything if it wasn't for my family.
Amazing. As a family man, then how hard would you say is to balance both a lovely family and a multi-million-dollar business?
Yeah. So fortunately for me, the last 10 years that I operated my business, I didn't have a desk. I didn't have a computer. I did not need to be there. I'd have conversations once or twice or 3 times a day with my head person running it, and he would guide the teams and get the vendors and make sure everything was happening. But in the beginning, it was a lot different. In the beginning, we already had 2 kids at the time. Now we have 4, but we had 2 kids.
Yeah.
And I was working 50 to 60 hours a week. Very busy, very difficult to have that balance. But I'm proud to say I remember doing little things, like we had 2 little boys at the time, and I would take off on Friday afternoon when they finished school, and I'd take them to the beach, and we'd spend hours there together. And every opportunity that I got, I did spend it with them. So there's everything comes in phases in life, and for me, that phase was work all day. But as the moment I had a moment that I was free, it was to be with my boys and my wife, right? So now, over the last 10 years, it's been much different. I don't have a task. I don't have to be anywhere. I get to do whatever I want. So now it's complete disbalanced, right? It's all unbalanced. It's all toward family. In the very, very beginning, it was probably all toward work. But I knew that ultimately what I wanted was a balance. And then eventually I wanted all family and all leisure and exercise and fun.
Yeah.
But it took a lot of work in the beginning. The only thing I do wish, though, I wish I would have had some guidance early on when I was young and working really hard. And I wish somebody would have told me, hey, every 5 days, every 3 days, I don't know, go meditate, go exercise every day, even if it doesn't mean go to the gym, even if it means every hour have an alarm sound and just do some push-ups. Lift your legs, work your abdomen. I wish somebody would have told me to do that. Meditate a little bit, 5 minutes a day, because I would be working on the computer all day. And I felt like there was no other way. And it was good. I don't regret what I did, but I wish I would have taken those small pauses.
Do you think it would be a massive difference in the end if you would do that?
I think what it could do is give you a little bit more peace, a little less stress, a little less anxiety, because you could take that, maybe it's elevated cortisol levels, it's a high stress, and you could lower it a little bit. And maybe you could think a little better for your business. Maybe you also show up better to your family and friends, so that I imagine, no, I'm lying. My wife tells me that I'm a different person today, 180 degrees from when I was grinding and working really hard, that I would react very strongly, raise my voice, and be upset. Well, yeah, because I was working 10 to 12 hours a day. I was stressed out, and I never took those moments to pause and relax.
Yeah, I see. Well, what I like to say is basically the change that occurs in people over a period of time. So that looks like 180 degrees is like a whole different person. So how do you feel about that change?
Oh, I love it and it's true. I mean, I think sometimes guys, when we are aggressive and 100 miles an hour, it's
Yeah.
sometimes nice to get that feminine influence of, hey, relax, don't answer so strong, don't get so upset, don't jump to conclusions and to strong emotion. So that's something that has definitely helped me. I credit it 100% to my wife. I am the most
Mm-hmm.
impatient person, and she's made me more patient and more relaxed. So it's a good balance. I'm very happy to be where
Mm.
she has helped me get in those regards.
Yeah, that's lovely. So, if you could give only one tip to a young entrepreneur with similar background to you, let's say, let's make it a bit personal, similar background to you, what would you say to him or her?
Yeah. There's a lot of things, and it always is independent to that person. But there's one general thing I could think of immediately, and it's to take action. Whenever you're thinking about something, have an ultimate plan to take action on it. And the action could be very simple. The action could be to drop it and say, I'm not going to do that. That's okay. But what I don't like is when someone just thinks about something all the time and they never take action. There's people I haven't seen in a year or two, and they have
Mm.
all these big aspirations and dreams for their entrepreneurial life. And when I ask them a year or two later, so, hey, last time we talked, I remember you mentioned something about starting a business with, let's call it horses. And they say, yeah, I'm still thinking about that. It's been 2 years. Either stop thinking about it and change to something else, or start taking some steps. Start finding out what a
Mm.
horse will cost you. Start finding out what it costs to rent a barn. Start moving forward in that direction. Always be moving forward. Sure, there are moments where you have to take a step back. I understand. And there are moments where you have to think. But man, don't think forever. Start taking the little action. And I don't mean by action, go buy a horse on day one. No,
Yeah.
go find out the things, go see if there's a market, go see the good, the bad,
Mm.
meet some people who are already doing that business and get some ideas from them and build those relationships with them. That's another thing. If I had to
Mm.
say a second thing, it's to build community and build relationships because it really helps you grow.
I see. That sounds good. You know, in your, I'm gonna take you back to your book now, for a second. So you said that you help particularly men to become the best version of themselves, let's say. Yeah. So is there something that you think is, well, something that no man has until they experience the program in your book?
Nope, not at all. That's easy to answer. So
Mm-hmm.
everybody has a lot of potential within them, and everybody has a lot of good things inside of them. Look, we all know what to do. If we want to become healthy, we know we have to eat a certain way, and I'm very
Mm-hmm.
particular on how I eat, and we have to exercise, and we have to do different sports, we have to do those sort of things. But but if I'm not doing those things and I read a book that really motivates me and gets me to do it, or I hire a coach, that person helped me get in that direction. But the reality is, I had it inside of me the whole time. I know what I'm supposed to do. A person who smokes and has problems breathing, they know exactly what they need to do. They need to stop smoking. It's very simple. But maybe they
Yeah.
join a group, and it's that group that helps them realize that's it, I'm going to make that change. My book is not just a book, it's a program. So when you put
Yeah.
24 guys together in a program, and every single day we go through a challenge together and we help each
Mm.
other, it forms a beautiful bond with men all around the world. They start figuring some stuff out and their life starts changing. For one thing, it's because they spend 31 days, even though it's only about 20 minutes a day total between the reading, the exercise, everything you got to
Yeah.
do. It's 31 days of looking inside and saying, oh, that's a good question. I never thought about that. Let me see how
Mm.
I answer that. Get a piece of paper and a pen, write it out. That's your assignment for the day. But you just had to stop the noise and everything going on in society and focus on you. When you do that one day, fantastic. 2 days better, 31 days of focusing on yourself, and something comes out on the other side. Again, it's all within you. I'm not teaching
Mm.
people what they have to do. I'm asking some
Yeah.
questions and putting up some challenges, and they're doing it from there. That's what's amazing about this. It's not about me. The
Mhm.
program does not have my name on it. It's 31dailychallenges.com is the website. So you go there. It's not me. It's about that program and getting those guys
Yeah.
together.
I see. You know, you said they are all together, like, I mean, in that case, a phrase that comes up to my mind is peer pressure, peer pressure. So it can have negative and positive consequences, but I like to see and I like to focus on the positives. And it's always so helpful and so useful as well to have 24 in this case men doing the same thing, because we think about the challenges and we think also that, you know, I wanna be the best at this. I know there are other people watching and they're doing the same thing, so I want to be the best. What do you think?
Yeah, well, first of all, there is some peer pressure in there, but I call it a positive peer pressure.
Yeah.
Just like there's positive paranoia. If you own a company, you should be a little bit paranoid that a competitor is going to destroy you. And that's positive paranoia. Worry about it,
Yeah.
build your business in a way that protects you. Same thing. If I have very good eating habits and a friend comes over and has bad eating habits, I'm going to pressure him into eating very well, because I'm going to encourage him, hey, try this. This is very good for you. Give it a shot. And maybe he says, no, I don't like it. Come on, just try it. I'm going to give him peer pressure in a positive way. I'm never going to tell him, hey, try this drug or drink this alcohol, or you're not going to say those things. But I'm going to say, hey, try this exercise with me, right? So I think that's positive peer pressure. And the way we go through the exercises is not pressuring people. It's encouraging them. First of all, they sign up because they're willing to make some changes and they want to try something new. So this isn't very difficult. It's not pulling teeth out of people. It's a simple process of, all right, here's a challenge we're going to do today. Let's get it done. Now, some guys are more competitive than others, and they might say in the WhatsApp group, all right, I finished it by 8 o'clock this morning. Fantastic. Some guy might finish it at 10 o'clock at night. It doesn't matter. Just do the thing that you're supposed to do for the day.
That sounds good. And over to the last question before we move on to the bonus section. What do you want to leave the audience with, from specifically from Joel Gandara? What would you say? What would you want them to focus on?
Sure. So I grew up very poor because I came on a boat from Cuba to the United States. I did not know the language when I got here. I started school 3 months later and I failed. I had to do the grade again, and very poor, no language. Parents that didn't know the language for many years later because it took them longer. They were in their 30s when we got here. So some disadvantages there. Grew up in a bad neighborhood, a lot of crime, very unsecure. I always felt different. I always felt less than, like there was something wrong with me because of the impact of migrating and being like a second-class citizen. Not because of anything wrong. It's just that's natural. I didn't speak the language. I didn't have toys, and other kids had toys. I always felt less than. And over time, I was able to battle all those things through hard work, through having very big goals and driving toward them and working. And if I was able to do all of these things, despite the disadvantages, I think anybody can do this. I think anybody can build most people can build a multi-million-dollar company. Most people, I believe, have it inside of them to become a multi-millionaire if that's what they want to do. Or if it's as simple as I want to quit my job because I want to run my own small business. Fantastic, of course you can. It took me until my late 20s before I could quit my job and go 100% into my little side hustle gig that I was doing. And I did all that. And I don't have anything special other than perseverance. I do continue even when it gets hard. Things that are difficult don't scare me. They hurt me, they frustrate me, they make me more tired. That's all normal, but I can keep pushing through it. So I hope people will realize that guy has had some successes in his life and I haven't had them yet, but I'm not any less than that person. Then of course you could do the same thing or hopefully even better.
That is so inspiring. That is so inspiring. You know, into the bonus section now. I say a word or a phrase to you, and you need to describe it with the first word that comes to your mind. Obviously, you can elaborate as well, but it's best if we stick with one word. Ready?
I'm gonna try.
Good. Early struggle.
Sucks.
Work-life balance.
A dream.
Freedom.
Got it.
Amazing. Easy money.
Impossible.
Excuses.
No.
Wild success.
Possible.
Unfair advantage.
Who cares?
Self-belief.
Crucial.
And supreme confidence.
It's amazing. If you have that, it's amazing.
Amazing. You know, you said in excuses, you said no, and you were very assertive. I really like that because I hate when people use excuses to in any area of their life. So I would love to know your opinion about people using excuses and take the power away from them.
Oh, so I use the hashtag on Instagram often, no excuses. Hashtag no excuses. Because today I was on a coaching call, and it was a couples coaching call. I've never advertised it in my life, but we do coach couples, my wife and I. And it comes naturally, organically. Anybody goes through my program or my wife's, some people end up asking us. And when we were on that call, one of the two in that couple started making a bunch of excuses. And I know myself very well. I know my wife very well. I know her thinking, oh boy, let's let this person finish. And they finished with 10 excuses. And then I said, okay, those are all excuses. Let's get to the bottom of it. And when I pressed back and said, no, those are excuses. Let's see how you can accomplish that. Instantly, the solutions started coming, not from us, from that person. Everybody has it inside of them. We just have to push them to get it out of them. Ultimately, I think people will be glad that the right person, driven, good person who wants to become better will be happy when you call them out on excuses. Look, I'm guilty of it too. Humans default, our brain defaults to not waste energy and to stay alive. So what do? We make excuses. We say, well, I do want to run that marathon. However, I don't know, today I had a rough day. I don't know, today I'm a little bit sore on my arm. Who cares? Go run, go put on your tennis shoes and go run. And this is all the time that I'm hearing it. So I've developed a brain that now has this excuse monitor. So all day I'm hearing excuses. Fortunately, I think we've worked most of them out of our kids. So I don't hear them so much from our kids anymore. But out on the street, and it's not my business to say anything to anybody, but I'm constant red flag alerts. Excuse. I'm always hearing excuses. And you could have a much better life if you just catch yourself, or hire a coach, or get a mentor or a friend that can say, hey, you just made an excuse. Stop. And you'll get good at not making excuses if you practice it.
That is amazing. So inspiring. Thank you very much for being here and for spreading all that knowledge and all that positivity and energy. And this was honestly so inspiring. And
my pleasure, Anthony.
that was Joel Gandara, ladies and gentlemen.